Will the Georgia Bulldogs have a running back who breaks out this year? Will the Dogs have a breakout star at the running back position? A group that for the last few years we've seen them use a committee style, and even when they do have multiple stars, there still is a committee style to the way the Georgia Bulldogs use their running back room. And now they've lost one heading into this season, Kenny McIntosh, to the NFL. That leaves Kendall Milton, Daijun Edwards, Branson Robinson, Andrew Paul, Roger Robinson, those guys, Cash Jones, Savon Clark, right? That is your running back room for the Georgia Bulldogs this season. A position group that they've been, it's been banged up this spring, and Georgia's not a stranger to off-season injuries and spring injuries. It's something that we've seen happen a lot, and it's usually fine, right? It's those long-term ones like the George Pickens injury in the offseason that really affects you. But we saw Georgia's running back room specifically be banged up this offseason. Branson Robinson, Kendall Milton, Daijun Edwards, everyone just kind of dealing with injuries. Andrew Paul obviously coming off of an ACL tear last season, hasn't ever suited up for the Georgia Bulldogs. Does this room have a breakout star? I don't think so. Ryan Kelly from Dawg Post. I'm going to tell you why real quick. Double Dogs, Dog Struction, these two books, you can find them down below. Our preview magazine is this for this season is free if you get Double Dogs. I am stumbling on my words right here. The preview magazine is free if you get Double Dogs, our book about the 2022 National Championship run. So Kenny McIntosh, I was always a big Kenny McIntosh guy. I always thought he was really talented. I liked his versatility. I thought he was a great receiving back. The way that they used him in his senior year, where he was pretty much the lead back for Georgia, was impressive. I thought the side-to-side stuff they used in the passing game, kind of an extension of their running game, was good. He was a really good player to use for that kind of stuff. He had a great cut. He showed that off right from the jump his freshman year. I believe that was against Arkansas State in 2019 when he had that 40, 50, 60-yard run with that jump cut. You saw over his 4 years him show you that he's gone, right? And there is an expectation among many that Kendall Milton is going to take over and he's going to be the RB1 for Georgia. And look, I agree. I think Kendall Milton at this point in time is Georgia's RB1, right? I think he is their lead guy. Daijun Edwards also a senior heading into this season, and then the rest are sophomores. I don't think, at least anyone that's going to get significant playing time, I don't think there is a junior in this running back room off the top of my head. So Kendall, a guy that has been injury riddled, right? Not to the point where he's just never on the field, but he's definitely missed some significant time. The assumption was that he was going to be the RB2 or at least a 50-50 split with Kenny McIntosh in a sense as for that starting role last season, right? Injuries kind of prevented that. He has 85 carries to Daijun Edwards 140. They were the two behind Kenny McIntosh with 150 carries. With McIntosh, you leave 150 carries, 829 yards, and 10 touchdowns on the ground left. In receiving, Kenny McIntosh was the third leading receiver for the Georgia Bulldogs in 2022 with over 500 yards, 43 catches, and 2 touchdowns. There's a big hole there. And to be honest, no, there is not a pass catcher out of the backfield even close to the level of Kenny McIntosh in this running back room. Is that going to be a problem for Georgia? Problem might not be the right word, but it's going to be different. The Georgia running backs right now are more bruisers. They're all more physical running backs. Kendall Milton, obviously known for his bigger frame. Daijun Edwards is a guy that he's this crafty, low-to-the-ground built runner who breaks a lot of tackles, and the same thing goes for Branson Robinson. You can see it in one of those pictures behind me how Branson Robinson is built. That was a picture taken before the 2022 season. You can only imagine that he's probably a little bit more jacked at this point in time. He's my guy. I would say there might be a star there, right? They might give him more touches, and because he had some moments his freshman year where I was like, whoa, Branson Robinson could be a guy where you give him 5, 6 touches, 5, 6, 7 touches in a drive, and he has a really productive drive and scores a touchdown. The thing about Milton that I will say is his yards per carry was really good. Over 7 yards per carry last year. He hit a couple of big runs. He was productive in that sense. And a guy that in his earlier years, I thought broke tackles better than he did last year in his junior season. I thought that he went down a little bit easier. Maybe it's an injury thing. Maybe it's a different approach from him, but what I saw was him break tackles better his freshman and his sophomore year. I thought that was something that he kind of regressed at, just from my eyes, the eye test, watching the games. I thought Kendall Milton was a little bit worse as that in 2022. I thought Dejan Edwards was their best tackle breaker last year, and McIntosh obviously was a little bit more of a finesse guy who had some power to him. But this Georgia running back room is going to be interesting. Roderick Robinson is another guy. He's really built up top, and he's going to be a freshman, a 4-star from this past class. And Andrew Paul, it'll be interesting to see how much they get thrown into the game. I don't think they're going to play very much. To me, this is mostly going to be a 3-man, mostly, in my opinion, and from what we know right now, I think this is mostly going to be a 3-man rotation between Milton, Edwards, and Robinson. Those are going to be your 3 main guys, and I don't know that one is going to stand. They have an opportunity to, right? One of those 3 can certainly take over, and it's just like, wow, that guy's got a rhythm in these games. I don't know that that's going to happen. I think that there's going to be a pretty good share of carries to go around. I think that that's going to get split up. The thing about Georgia's offense is now you got Carson Beck, who is not as mobile of a quarterback as Stetson Bennett was, and they obviously use Stetson more in the run game. So how will that be supplemented? Is that going to be supplemented with short passing? Is that going to be supplemented with more handoffs, between the tackles? These are more between the tackles runners than Kenny McIntosh was as their number 1 last season. So the scheme has got to be slightly different just because the personnel is different. You see that every year, but a lot of mouths to feed on the outside for Georgia as well. It'll be interesting because I almost don't know what to expect. Are they going to pass the ball more? Is it going to be more of a balanced offense? It's exciting to think about because in the spring, I don't think we got a great view of what the offense actually is going to look like. I think that there were too many players out and there needs more time to develop, right? So I don't know if we have a great grasp on what Georgia's offense looks like quite yet. But I don't think there's going to be a breakout running back superstar out of this Georgia backfield. I think it'll be more of a committee. All of them, I think, have NFL potential. I think for Kendall Milton and Dejan Edwards, it's obviously important that they play really well this year because they can make themselves a lot of money by making it to the pros next season. So for them, there's definitely a lot on the line. To me, I think Branson Robinson has the most star potential, but I don't think there's going to be one superstar guy that shines. Last year, the way Kenny McIntosh was kind of clearly the one may happen. I don't think it would be more than along those lines. I don't think you have a DeAndre Swift here. And part of that is because of how evenly balanced these guys are. It's not that there's a lack of talent. Swift was much more talented than the other guys. So that's kind of the difference here. What are your thoughts? Do you think any of them are going to break out? Let me know down below, and make sure you're clicking these links in the description down below on our Shopify. Thanks for watching.